Shifting focus to what's taking place in India. At least 13 people have lost their lives in multiple landslides triggered by heavy rain in the Indian state of West Bengal. The districts of Darjeeling and Kalimpong are heavily impacted. Rescue operations are facing significant challenges due to severe weather and widespread damage, raising concerns that the number of casualties may increase even further. The disaster has cut off communication lines to neighbouring state of Sikkim as the iron bridge near Tista Bazar has collapsed. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed his condolences to those who have lost their loved ones and has assured that possible assistance will be provided to the affected. Now, due to heavy rains, the road network has been severely damaged as well. National Highways 10 and 717A have been blocked by these landslides. With us on the broadcast is Nibir Deka, our correspondent on the ground. Nibir, walk our viewers through the sheer amount of destruction that has taken place. We're in fact getting to know that 13 people have tragically lost their lives.
Well, absolutely. One of the biggest tragedies coming from the Darjeeling town of West Bengal, when 13 people confirmed have died, and that is the official toll. But what we are getting to know is that the toll might increase because there are many feared missing and also grievously injured. The rescue operations is currently ongoing as we speak, and the NDRF, National Defense Response Force, is now at the ground trying to evacuate and rescue all those people who are stranded there and also stuck there. One of the most affected sites is the Mirik area. Mirik is a very scenic area. It has a very beautiful lake, and it is a known tourist destination spot. In that Mirik area, it is confirmed that at least 6 people have died in that particular area. Not just Mirik, there are other places such as Jasbir Gaon, Basti, Dhargaon, and all these areas are severely impacted. The primary response so far has been that the NDRF, the police force, and other security forces are all working. They are trying to rescue and rehabilitate, but the condition is such that it is a very difficult challenge for them as well. It's been continuously raining since the last 24 hours or so, and as a result of that, the situation has escalated, and even now as we speak, it's been raining, and that has been the biggest challenge so far for the rescue teams. Back to you.
Indeed, and Nibir, we're also getting to know that access to Sikkim, one of the main bridges along the Tista River, has now also collapsed. Part of it has collapsed. We are in fact seeing those visuals. So what's going on the ground in order to restore the access to the state of Sikkim?
Well, the National Highway 10, which is operational there, has been blocked. The National Highway 10, which goes from Siliguri to Sikkim, it's completely closed, and that has happened due to the increase of the water level and the Tista River. And this is due to the heavy rains that we have been witnessing over the last 24 hours or so, that the water level of Tista River has risen. In a sense, it has blocked the National Highway 10, and this is a very serious concern in the sense that this is a tourist, a lot of tourists are visiting those parts because of the current holidays ongoing here, and due to the weekend, a lot of tourists on a daily basis commute to those areas, and that is the reason the district administration is on full alert, and the traffic has been stopped, but they are trying to keep things safe there by warning people not to venture around, and also blocking all the vulnerable points which the administration is trying to do here. Back to you.
All right, Nibir, thank you so much for taking out time, sharing all those details with our viewers. Shifting focus to what's happening in Nepal. Cleanup operations are underway in Nepal after torrential rains triggered landslides and flash floods that blocked major roads connecting the capital, Kathmandu. At least 47 people have lost their lives in the last 36 hours. 18 deaths, in fact, occurred in separate landslides in the Ilam district near the Indian border, while 3 people were killed by lightning strikes in southern Nepal and 1 person died in floods in Udaipur. 11 others remain missing and rescue efforts are still underway. Several highways have been blocked, stranding hundreds of passengers, and domestic flights also have been disrupted. The Koshi River, which causes annual floods in India, is now flowing above danger levels, heightening concerns in southeastern Nepal. Let's in fact listen in to what is happening on the ground.
क्षति त भइहाल्यो त्यो पूर्व जानकारी भएको हुनाले हामीले केही सामानहरू सुरक्षित ठाउँमा राखिसक्यौँ क्षति कम भयो अब तपाईँको अरू क्षति भएको व्यवसाय गर्न मिलेन हाम्रो समय वेस्टेड गयो अब तपाईँको बाँकीको सामानहरू पनि सबै अब असुरक्षित भए अब अलि फोहोर भयो त्यो बेच्ने कुरो आएन त्यो पूर्व जानकारी भएको हुनाले हामीले केही सामानहरू सुरक्षित ठाउँमा राखिसक्यौँ क्षति कम भयो अब तपाईँको अरू क्षति भनेको व्यवसाय गर्न मिलेन हाम्रो समय वेस्टेज गयो अब तपाईँको बाँकीको सामानहरू पनि सबै अब असुरक्षित भए अब अलि फोहोर भयो त्यो बेच्ने कुरो आएन.
With us on the broadcast is Bharti Chaturvedi, founder and director of Chintan Environmental NGO, joining us from New Delhi. Thank you so much for taking out time and speaking to us on NewsX World. I wanted to understand from you how vulnerable at the moment is the Elam region in particular. We do know that more than 47 people have lost their lives in the last 36 hours. It's very imperative for relief operations to take place, for aid also to be channeled for the people who are suffering.
Well, of course, this is an absolutely terrible tragedy. My heart goes out to the country and to everyone who's stuck there or whose loved ones are there. The Himalayas per se are a very young mountain range, and so they are still shifting and being formed, and the kind of pressure that all of us, in the entire region are putting on the Himalayas, whether it's through tourism or whether it's just through the way that we're urbanizing. One of the things we're learning just through seeing these catastrophes are the way landslides throughout 2025 have killed so many and destroyed so many in this region per se. And I believe that is not about climate change as much as it about our mode of development, and I think in the global south, we really have to think about what to do, how we want to develop, because we are so vulnerable to these kinds of crises, particularly in the climate emergency.
Absolutely, ma'am. I request you to stay on with us. We're tracking another very crucial development this time from China. We're now learning that Typhoon Matmo has struck southern China, bringing strong winds and heavy rain. In fact, wind speeds up to 151 kilometers per hour were recorded. The storm made a landfall near Shuwen in Guangdong province. In fact, Matmo approached the coast with winds reaching 151 kmph, and authorities cancelled flights and ferries in the island province of Hainan ahead of the typhoon. This disruption comes during the National Day holiday, which is a peak travel period with an estimated 2.36 billion trips planned. The typhoon had already caused flooding in the Philippines last week itself. In fact, emergency services now remain on alert as the storm moves inland, impacting millions in the region. Still with us on the broadcast is Ms. Bharti Chaturvedi. Ma'am, interestingly, this is the 21st such typhoon in the region that has taken place this year itself. We've seen the destruction caused by Boaloy in Vietnam and Ragasa as well in Hong Kong and Taiwan as well. It's busier than expected here for the typhoons, and a lot can be chalked down to global warming, rising temperatures as well that is driving this phenomenon. Could you explain to our viewers what exactly would the consequences of this increased typhoon activity, this typhoon season this time around implies?
Well, thank you. So I think this is extraordinarily terrible what's happening in China. It's really tragic. It's so unfortunate, and in the Philippines and in Vietnam. But what we're really seeing is very strong storms. This one, in fact, is the strongest of 2025, which tells us something. And we're already, 2 million people have been evacuated nearly. And there's an expectation that the flooding might be as high as 10 to 12 inches, which means a lot of destruction. And what happens is, even in an economy as strong as China and a country as organized as China, a lot of its economies along coasts, and those will be impacted, businesses will be impacted, and the cost of rebuilding is really, really high, and we never estimate it correctly. But if this is going to be a trend, then every year a whole lot of money, instead of building the economy and putting it into education and health, in fact gets diverted to save people from the fury of climate change, and especially along the populous coast areas. So I think it's going to be not just a catastrophe in the way that it will help, it will disrupt, people's lives, cause health crises, mental health crises, but also a huge economic cost by, the most robust economy in the world.
All right, ma'am. With that, I would like to thank you for taking our time and speaking.